Alright, so I want to read this letter that Letecia sent the Judge Orner, back in on February 21st of 2021, so a couple of years ago. And she talks about our mental health. So again, while we're waiting for the verdict to come in on the Letecia Stauch trial, let's read through this letter. So it's to the judge. On February 19th, 2021, I was unable to talk with Judge Bain about my conflicts with my defense team due to, one, the actual privacy of the booth and the transport over. I explained in detail to him, expressing my concerns of privacy. 2, I had a very difficult morning mentally because I am not mentally well. One of the main issues with my attorneys is their lack of ability to gather evidence. Due to this, I find little value in the term expert. First, they were unable to obtain my medical health records from Charleston, South Carolina. When I finally paid a firm in South Carolina to obtain them in 2016, I was diagnosed with, and it does not say, it's a blank there, and received treatment before work for over 28 hours of care. The school district even provided extra services and later let me medically resign due to the ongoing reality breaks. In 2018, I was hospitalized in Canada, crossing the border for 2 days and completed more of treatment when I returned. I tell you this because it sets the stage for why I cannot work with my attorneys. I signed release forms for them to get all this information so they would have a better understanding of why I'm all over the place some days. I asked them to use the info from a non-biased doctor who worked with me more than 2 hours, but instead they sent a lady who was clearly an actress and friends with the DA. She spoke about him in an unprofessional manner, their history, and his election. Now, I'm sure all of this was true, but I thought she worked for the court, not one particular side. My attorneys did this to make me look like a perjurous individual. Instead, it was malfeasances on their part. I have included several reasons to support my claim as I kept a timeline of these conflicts. Communication is broken beyond repair. I explained these issues to Judge Bain, including the lack of access and visitations, in complete detail. Inconsiderate of evidence, since March 2020, asked my attorneys to preserve the GameStop footage, to locate the Texas police officer whom I spoke with, and to get the cruise passenger list. Instead, they spent months contacting my family for mitigation. When asked certain things, they kept saying they will let the investigators know. 1 year later, same answer. My evidence, I haven't physically seen any while being held at CJC for 1 year. Yes, COVID, but inmates still being held as constitutional rights were adjusted, overlooking statute and evidence. They overlooked the competency statute about video recording human error. Okay, but this happens often with evidence in which me, the non-expert, has to provide corrections to evidence. Sharing info, they were texting my family and giving them info that they should not have, causing several disputes. My judge, they filed that motion knowing this county would not grant me new attorneys to sabotage my chances of a trial by judge. They knew I wanted to present evidence to him without exposing any information on my son's father. However, they created incorrect conflicts instead of addressing the real issues. They could have filed the proceed only instead of talking about my defense to sabotage my trial by judge. Defenses, indeed I am innocent, but I will not put myself or others in danger running the defense against my biological son when the system is letting 2 men run free who are involved. One is a prominent member of an independent business. They use the NGRI to get a hearing, knowing I'm not guilty to cover up their lack of representation. Although I had bouts of insanity, and still do, I did not murder or abuse anyone, nor would that be a defense, because it's my understanding that you actually did do it. However, I will protect my bio son, and I will protect the drugs and violence documented from my stepson. The truth is, the court is holding the wrong person and for the wrong crimes. This whole process has been nefarious from denying me an attorney, threatened me in the bathroom away from cameras to confess, taking advantage of me being delusional, threatening my other kids' freedom or else, etc. I am going to keep noticing it, or keep making it known, sir, just much the state has done in this wrongful incarceration. I will continue to be an advocate for myself because I am not a murderer, and the level that the prosecution goes through to promote a wrongful conviction is absurd. Truth is, they could see a video from someone else and they would dismiss that person as a lunatic. They have far too much invested in this wrongful incarceration to admit they are wrong. For these reasons, and because my defense team is in cahoots with them, I am left with no other choice but to represent myself. Denying me my rights under the Constitution has happened throughout this process, from the detectives to jail and now my legal team. Every day I am getting worse mentally due to inadequate representation and being held hostage for a crime I did not commit. These are my conflict issues and my reason for asking to go per se. As always, thank you for your time. Letecia Stauch. So this was back when she wanted to actually represent herself. But what is all that about a biological son? I just rereading this information or these documents. Crazy what's been said, what she said in the past, and who is she referring to? Biological son. So who is that?